have given a name to my pain.
Mysterious figure
And it
who
is
seems
Batman.
to appear and disappear at will.
I was a comic book fan in that era, and the Joker was my favorite.
I'm glad you did.
Jack Nicholson.
I'm glad you did.
He is of the piece. He is seamlessly into it. He is Grand Guignol.
Come on, Jack, let's go!
And he doesn't make a false step. With the whole bravura performance, he is part of that magical, dark piece.
The story says here's a man plunged into nuclear waste and comes out this other identity, right? So my simple thought on it is the guy is from then on short-wired. I love that.
People have said to me, did I feel nervous about taking on a task where you were going to produce some work that was going to be viewed in such detail and analysed in such detail? I had an initial nervousness about what Jack Nicholson was going to be like, but that's largely because you're going to be nervous about any actor who you might have to spend 3 or 4 months with.
No one had worked en masse in the movies in a very long time. And of all characters to whom these ideas might apply, just academically, the Joker is one of them.
My attitude was very practical. It was, if you have somebody of that caliber, they'll have a 12-hour turnaround. You've got to do the makeup in under 2 hours, whatever it is. You have to have a practical approach to how you would do a character like that. I saw my job very much as whatever this guy turns up with, I'll be augmenting. And I think in the first discussions, Tim's view was exactly that, you know, that we would see where we went. And he didn't dismiss any approach at all at that stage. He was very open.
It's like when certain actors say, I'll find my character when I find his wardrobe, you know? It's like, and I kind of understand that. It's deeper than just a surface thing.
With someone like the Joker, you have a childhood image in your head. White-faced guy, green hair, manic smile. But beyond that, when somebody actually confronts you with the issue of, OK, you're actually going to do it, I've got to give him a ridiculous smile, I've got to paint him white, I've got to give him green hair, but I mustn't dilute Jack Nicholson at all. And that was really the hard part of the brief. He did have the final say.
I did have a very early meeting before anything happened with Nick. Creatively, it was very specific. You know, in other words, I wanted to get something more of the elongation. You know, when you look at the drawings, his hair is not bright green, you almost see it as a lighting effect. You know, you're at the beginning, everything's always brand new at a movie, and Tim was feeling that this would come through the lighting, that it wasn't too bright, too green, more of a Clarabelle than a Joker, you know. And I said, oh, you know, Tim, look, you know, I don't agree with that. You don't want that level of clowning. Don't worry, I'll try to be humorous. He is the Joker and funny. And we did the test on the wig, and immediately he saw too bright. Changed the wig, much less green area, you know, much less fright wig element, more, you know. This was also very revolutionary at the time. The chemistry of it was very specific, and they were very inclined toward the creative result of it. And we had a lot of talks. One of the ironies of my life is I'm allergic to spirit gum, you know, the basic unit of movie makeup.
You know how concerned people are about appearances. This is attractive, that is not. Well, that is all behind me. I now do what other people only dream. I make art until someone dies. See?
I did one life cast as you would normally, with his face just relaxed in a normal position, and one cast where I asked him to pull the most extreme grin that he could pull, which was quite extreme. Moulded these various items, produced casts of him, smiling and not smiling, that I could then sculpt on. So I then went back and started trying to sculpt a smile that was always there, but needed him to smile behind it to take it to the full extent. And then sort of stood back from them, painted them, and sort of looked at them and thought, well, what do I think? At what point in this row of faces do I lose Nicholson? Because anything beyond that point where I lose him, I should just dismiss now. Because if you're doing a prosthetic makeup, you're gluing bits on somebody's face. And wherever you glue those bits, you are camouflaging the performer. You know, he's got to sell through it.
You'll never believe what happened to me today.
Oh.
The actor is now effectively masked. You've created a different person on the front, and he has to discover whether that works or not.
By putting on a mask somehow it can be quite liberating as an actor and have things that come out of you that you wouldn't ordinarily have if you were just acting without anything over your face. Something comes through from the subconscious that might not come through without that. And I think that's true, and it's interesting, and it's fun to watch that happen.
Have you shipped 1 million of those things? Yes, sir. Ship them all! We're gonna take them out a whole new door!
He had to have makeup on and take it off and get down to a second layer of makeup. This is a scientific problem.
The Joker paints himself flesh-coloured to hide the fact that he's been stained white. And then you read that he wipes at his face and all the brown comes off, and revealing the white Joker underneath. And you think, how the hell do you do that? We paint him with the product we use all the time, which we call Pax paint, which is basically an acrylic adhesive that is mixed with paints. And then we put food-grade silicone oil all over his face. And silicone oil has the property of nothing sticks to it. We then stippled with a sponge a very weak, flesh-coloured base coat of grease paint, which was literally sitting on the oil, so it was quite a paint put on, and he couldn't touch it. And then we airbrushed and painted shading into that.
What's with that stupid grin? Life's been good to me.
He could then do the scene, and if he had a handkerchief that had been soaked in isopropyl alcohol, he could wipe it, and it would strip everything off, but it would leave the Pax paint job underneath, and it worked.
Had you ever heard of the healing power of laughter?
The makeup, the costuming.
Now get out of here!
That's a big plus in making an actor feel like they're in the moment.
We've got a flying mouse to kill, and I want to clean my claws.
Bob had wanted to take that that elegant gangster that was in his very sharp pinstripe suit, and when he got sort of dipped in the acid, turn it into the sort of zany version.
You look fine.
Jack's known for coming to London to have suits made.
I didn't ask.
We used a Savile Row tailor to make these amazingly well-crafted suits, so he was so happy, really, with his whole look.
So much to do, and so little time.
Amongst that, you had a guy in a purple tailcoat, which kind of jumped out, but it all seemed to fit at the time.
I have one problem with the movie, and it's one shot, but it's very sadly the very first time you see the Joker, when he walks out of the shadow. If you look, he's got an absolutely enormous purple splodge on the side of his neck. And this is because we did a couple of takes, and some white grease paint had got on the collar of his coat he's wearing. And instead of taking that off with alcohol or something like that, had actually used purple boot polish on the coat.
Maybe we can cut a deal.
Of course, the director is going to use the take that has the best performance in it, and it's there.
Jack is dead, my friend. You can call me Joker. And as you can see, I'm a lot happier. Look.
I regard it as very much a focal point in my career to have the ability to do something without lots of people interfering. I only had to satisfy Tim and Jack. Normally in a studio movie, everybody has an opinion, and usually things get diluted. On this occasion, it was like I did what I wanted to do, I provided what they wanted, and it worked.
When I meet a kid now, however many years later, their parent always introduces me as, this is Jack Nicholson, the Joker, the Joker, they still go off on it,